show enough. I got props from the kids on the hill, plus my mom and my pops. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around, 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 jump up, jump up.
Today on the Dadger, I'm joined by someone who has lived the dreams of every Wisconsin kid who grew up with a football in their hands. From walking on at Wisconsin to becoming an All-American linebacker to then going on to play multiple seasons in the NFL, Joe Schobert has done it all. He's got an incredible story of perseverance, grit, and determination. Now, life looks a little different. Being a dad adds a whole new chapter to his journey. I can't thank you enough for coming on and joining me. Joe, welcome to the Dadger.
Thanks for having me. Like you said, life's different these days, but I'm ready to chat about it.
So normally I start these interviews trying to get a sense of the interviewee's upbringing, but on the Mountain and Prairie podcast you did like a year ago, he did a really good job of covering that. So I don't want you to have to kind of do that all over again. But I'll ask some questions I had about that. So you had a group of like 6 core friends, you said, when you were growing up in Waukesha. What age did you guys all start playing sports? And do you think having a core group of friends that were like-minded at such a young age fed your love of sports and competition?
Yeah, I think the first time like we all were on the same team was their 9U baseball team, the Waukesha Firebirds. That was from then on we kind of circled into flag football and eventually tackle football and junior basketball in like 4th, 5th grade. I think 5th grade was like the first actual like junior basketball for the Junior Wolverines, Waukesha West Wolverines program that we were in. So it was like 9, 10, 11 when we all started playing sports year round together. And I think, yeah, we were all like-minded and all good athletes, and winning lots of games in a variety of sports helped. And it was always good because you wanted to be the best out of the group of friends in every sport, and everybody was good. Everybody had positives, strengths and weaknesses in every different sport. So it was always like a challenge to try to be the best version that you could be on whichever team you are on against those guys.
Your dad played basketball and volleyball in high school, and your mom you said she was a pretty good swimmer. Did either of them coach you growing up? And do you think having athletic parents is what initially drew you to wanting to play sports?
Yeah, my dad coached football, and he helped out with baseball, and he coached basketball as well. And yeah, I think, my dad always pushed me. I mean, I always loved sports, and my dad always pushed me to be very good at whatever sport we were playing. And he'd be the one out in the yard, like if we were playing catch, practicing. He'd be the catcher if I was pitching to him. Took a lot of short hops to the knees and shins when I threw it in the dirt. But then we'd always play basketball one-on-one or horse or things. And so he'd always throw the ball to me. Like when we go to the school bus stop, wait for the bus, he'd be the quarterback, and I'd just be running routes for 10, 20 minutes before the bus came. So yeah, they both were good athletes in their own ways. And yeah, my dad was coaching and helping push me along every aspect of the sports journey. And the only problem with that was he always said I always played better when I was mad, so he'd always try to make me mad about it. There was a couple little tense moments here and there because of that, but we worked it out.
Did he coach you all the way like growing up until high school, or was there a point where it stopped?
Yeah, he was basketball and football coached all the way through 8th grade, so until high school.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure. So as time went on and you got older, did they ever try to maybe push you towards sports that they were in, or were they hands off and letting you decide what sports you wanted to do?
Yeah, they just let me do whatever I wanted to, and it was pretty much baseball in the summer, football in the fall, basketball in the winter, and I guess when I was younger, baseball started in the spring, so it was just kind of a year-round doing those 3 sports, and then I added track and field in like middle and high school in the spring when I was that age. But they let me do whatever I wanted. I don't know if I didn't want to do a sport, maybe they would have tried to push me one way or another, but I was always trying to do something. So
you talk about being on some successful teams growing up, whether it be winning baseball tournaments or even only losing 1 game in 5th grade basketball to high school. You guys didn't lose that many games over the course of 4 years in football. Do you think having that camaraderie and being so close with that core group of friends really taught you early on, as cliche as this is going to sound, the power of teamwork and what it really took to be successful as a team?
Yeah, I think it was mostly just we got lucky that we were all really good athletes and happened to be on the same team. You always, I mean, sports are the best learning ground, I think, for kids, just to how to handle adversity and be able to come together and work together in stressful situations. And like as a kid, you're not going to have many more stressful, or at least hopefully you won't have any more stressful situations than losing a football game on a Saturday morning. Than in the rest of your life. So it's a good proving ground for kids to kind of get thrown in places where they might be uncomfortable, have to work together as a team and try to be able to win. And even if you don't win, if you lose, be able to learn how to take something from it and get better from it, you know?
Yeah. You mentioned as a kid, you were, whatever particular season you were in, you were focused on that sport and saying, you're going to make it in that particular sport. So did you have a favorite sport growing up, or was it truly just whatever season it was in was your favorite sport?
Yeah, I mean, I think football was probably the favorite, but every season I was in, I was 100% in on that sport and practicing and getting better for it. So it did like rotate here and there, but I think overall, throughout the course of the year, football would have been the favorite. But like you said, it's just depending on the season, I was all in. I was going to go pro in that sport.
That's a little surprising because I think you still play basketball, pickup basketball, and you said you played at intramurals as well. And a ton of football guys that I've talked to say their first love is basketball. Like a ton of them say it's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a four-sport athlete, like you said. What drove you to take on that many sports? Were there any sports in particular that maybe you did just to stay in shape for some of your other sports?
No, I think it's just as being competitive growing up. I just always wanted to win something. So if I was just sitting around doing nothing, it's probably not great. And I wanted to, when you get to high school, you want to win as many letters as you can. And so I was like, I'll play all four sports and try to get as many letters as possible. No, I was always just used to doing something all year round. I did track for just work on speed and do stuff, but I also wanted to win all the events I was doing in it. That would probably be the only one that I wasn't focused on going pro in, although I did feel like I was pretty good at high jump when I was in it, but no state championships or anything for that though.
Third at state, right?
Yeah.
Third? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been too young. What year did you graduate?
Yeah, 2012.
Oh, maybe not. I was going to ask if you knew Paul Lanier, Brady Ewing's old buddy from Richland Center.
No.
He's a high jumper too. So
yeah, I think he would have been in a lower division, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So past high school, you said you visited Drake and had a preferred walk-on offer from North Dakota State for football. If anywhere else had offered you a scholarship in any of the other four sports you played, would you have gone to play those sports, or were you strictly only focused on playing football at the collegiate level?
That's a good hypothetical. I'm not sure maybe if there was a decent basketball offer, I might have gone and tried to play basketball, but I think my basketball coach going into senior year asked me if I wanted to get recruited in basketball because he has some pretty good connections. But at that point, coming off the junior year, we won state football my junior year, and talking to coaches and stuff, I was pretty set on playing football in college. And I knew that was probably a little bit more realistic than trying to make it to the NBA. The NFL is 4 times as many, I think, roster spots as the NBA has, if not more. So,
yeah. You talk about just being on the cusp of Twitter and guys marketing themselves through social media nowadays. Did you send out any film or highlight footage to schools in hopes to get more attention that way?
Yeah, I think when I was getting recruited, it was like little DVD cut-ups of your film. So I was mailing out DVDs to coaches all over the country. And I remember emailing and calling, just like calling the line of whatever the athletic department and asking if I could chat or leave a message for a head coach or a position coach. Didn't hear back from too many of those though, so I'm not sure how many actually got seen.
If you had to pick of the schools that you sent it to, what was the one that you wanted to go to the most?
I remember being really big about sending to Stanford and Boise State. Um, those two, I remember sending like film and then emails too, and trying to chat to the coaches. And then I remember like Southern Illinois, I did talk to a coach there. Um, but besides Wisconsin, I think those were the main ones. Well, actually, at Columbia, an Ivy League school, but they didn't offer
Okay.
scholarships. I also was like, that'd be pretty cool to go to school in New York City and play football,
Yeah.
but didn't hear back. So
Was that tough mentally for you, having sent out all that, put all that time and effort in, and not really, maybe not getting the responses that you wanted from it?
uh, a little bit, but I think I talked to enough coaches, and coaches would come through the school and chat, and you hear back from one time, and then you send a message, and you wouldn't hear back for a month. But I mean, in high school, there's so much other stuff going on that I don't think it was really too tough. I just kept
Yeah.
believing like if I just did what I was supposed to do, I'd end up where I was supposed to go. So just keep working hard, and luckily it did pan out for me. So
So you had planned to go to North Dakota State, but you said when Wisconsin offered you to walk on, it wasn't until like late July, I believe. So you didn't know if you were even going to get into school there. Having Brett Bielema go out of his way to go to the admissions office to make sure you were going to get in, did that really kind of sway you and make you feel more comfortable jumping from North Dakota State? Because you said basically you felt comfortable with them because at least they had been upfront with you and honest with you right from the get go.
yeah, I mean, I was set to go there. I was enrolled, but as soon as Wisconsin kind of came into the picture, it was just a waiting game, and my mom really didn't want me to skip a semester. Like I could have just said, "Yeah, I'll go to Wisconsin and I'll just take the fall semester off and enroll in the spring." But my mom was really against that, which is understandable. Didn't want me just sitting around doing nothing right
Right.
after high school. But it was the University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux, North Dakota State,
Oh, okay.
uh,
Okay.
just down the road. But they were understanding, and like I said, when Bielema was getting a call and let me know the admissions would get me through because I had good enough grades. It was kind of a no-brainer just to jump over to play for the home state school.
So it sounds like your mom had helped you out quite a bit during this whole recruiting process, and logically think about where you're going to go. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, my mom was probably the one. Me and her went to all the camps and did all the school visits together. And I mean, she's like getting an education is her highest priority. Making sure you're getting good grades all through high school. And we went and visited all the schools, and she took me to, like I said, all the camps. So she was very involved in the process. And like I said, if I wouldn't have been able to get into Wisconsin, I was going to the University of North Dakota because she wasn't going to let me sit out a semester and twiddle my thumbs and play a lot of video games. So
So, how important do you think it is for high school kids to have someone there to lean on if they're trying to make these tough decisions? I mean, obviously, now it's a little bit easier with the transfer portal, and they can kind of navigate a little bit easier out of that school if they want
mhm.
to. But still, a high school kid, that's a lot of it's a heavy decision at that age.
Yeah, for sure. And then you never know exactly when you're getting recruited. The coach is always telling you how you're the best player, X, Y,
Yeah,
and Z, and then you get to school and it's always a major switch up until now you're the bottom man on the totem pole and you got to work your way up. And so I think it's important to have a parent or somebody who's been through it before to be on your side because you can bounce ideas off of because you never know exactly how like as a high school kid, you don't know how college athletics is supposed to work. You don't know what you're gonna be doing living away from home for your first time, and if you have a parent or somebody who actually can talk to a coach and get a read on like if the town or the university is a good fit for you, like that's always huge. Just to have somebody to bounce ideas off of and somebody you can trust that they want what's best for you. When the college
right.
coaches might not necessarily want what's best for you, they might want what's best for the program. So
Yeah. You played running back and safety in high school. Is that a tough transition at all, going from those positions to linebacker?
Not really. I think I've played almost every position growing up on the
Okay.
football field. I played a lot of linebacker in youth football, so it wasn't
Okay.
a whole big learning curve for me. The biggest curve was just the college schematics and being able to learn a much bigger playbook than what you had in high school.
Yeah. I mean, college in general, do you have anything you look back on remembering being the hardest transition from between high school and college? Because I know a lot
Yeah,
of guys, say it's in college athletes, it's just super regimented.
yeah. I think just the time management, just going from high school where you could really just fudge around and get good grades and show up
Yeah.
on game day and play well, and you're the best athlete by far on the field, so you're going to do well. In college, yeah, super regimented. If you weren't showing up and working hard, you weren't going to get better at the same pace as the other guys. And then just being able to stay on top of your school and your homework along with football, with nobody, like no parents looking over your shoulder when you get back to your apartment or your dorm room at night and making you sure you're doing your homework, was
Right.
probably the biggest adjustment. But as a football team, they're very good at scheduling you mandatory study tables, getting tutors, mandatory tutors your freshman year, doing class checkers. So they have a whole system to make sure you're going into class, and if you're not, you're going to be doing lots of up downs. And so you really have no choice if you don't want to be puking every other day on the football field. You got to go to class and you got to show up and do things, and they do a good job. At least at Wisconsin, they do a good job of keeping people accountable in that aspect.
Wisconsin does a super good job of, well, it used to, of taking like these walk on guys and building them into like these fantastic athletes. Was there somebody when you got there as a freshman that really kind of took you under their wing, and helped you out? Like um, uh, upperclassman. I couldn't think of it. Like, was there an upperclassman that took you under their wing?
Yeah, I remember Ethan Armstrong was one of the guys who's a linebacker. He also was a
Yep.
former walk on. My locker buddy, Jerry Ponio, was a walk on, and we ended up rooming on road trips my freshman year. But like pretty much everybody in the facility, like once you're on the team, nobody really knows who's a walk on, who's a scholarship player in the
Sure.
locker room. Like you just go out to practice, and if you practice well and play well, like they don't care. And Wisconsin has a great tradition of being a developmental program. So whether guys were scholarship or not, from the Travis Fredericks to the Ethan Armstrongs and Chris Borlands, they're all good guys to just be able to chat to and figure out like how you should be working, and good guys who also led by example, so you could kind of model your work ethic off of them.
So for linebackers, sometimes it feels like to be a good linebacker, you have to have just almost unintangible, like this innate ability to read and flow as a second nature. When you got to Wisconsin, I assume you still like you had that innate ability to read. Um, I said the other interview you did, you said you didn't start lifting until you were a senior in high school, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did it ever cross your mind that first year, like maybe I should have taken lifting a little more serious early on in high school?
No, I don't think so. I think once I started lifting weights in high school, I was very determined just to, because I was walking on at North Dakota at that point, and I was just determined to live out my dream and prove everybody wrong that I could play college football. And um, I put all of my energy into it, and got a lot stronger really fast. So I don't think,
Yeah.
especially as growing up, kids going from 14 to 18, there's obviously huge changes in your body.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think you need to be lifting weights as early. I was playing sports is far more important to develop the like athletic skill development. And then once you get to college, you're gonna have no choice, and you're gonna get strong fast. So if you have the genetics in you and you're lifting weights, like you're gonna get stronger incredibly quickly in college, and you're not gonna be very far behind. And I wasn't really much behind a bunch of people. Everybody kind of came in somewhat similar. You're in a close scale. You just lift with the group of guys. I remember I was lifting with Alex Erickson and Nate Hammond when I was a freshman, two
Yep.
guys who were also walk on Alex, and ended up being totally different positions and totally different body frames. But we were in the same group for a little while there. And it just kind of goes from there.
Yeah. Did you use the lack of colleges that reached out to you as fuel throughout your college career? Like, I'm going to prove to you guys that you guys completely botched on not looking at me type of thing.
Not really. Not once I got to Wisconsin. Not really. Once I got there, I just wanted to be the best and follow the blueprint. Like, there's a incredible walk-on tradition there, and I knew if I just followed the blueprint, I'd end up reaching my ultimate goal of playing football for a job. So once I got into Wisconsin, I didn't really think about that too much.
What year did you get your scholarship? And is it like they show in some of those videos where they have, all the guys in a room with a team and they announce it, or how does that go?
I got my scholarship going into my sophomore year, and at that point, Gary Anderson just pulled me into his office and told me that we were gonna get on scholarship. And then they did an announcement later to the team, but it wasn't like I wasn't aware of it or something. It was just like, and our scholarship guys this year are going to be Joe Schobert, and I think Connor Udelhoven was soon after that. So a couple guys, but it wasn't like the whole dramatic thing like they do now.
Right, right. The announcement. Was there something early on in your college career where it clicked and flipped your mindset to, okay, I'm just as good as these guys out here, if not better than some of the guys you were lining up across from?
Yeah, I mean, I think once I showed up at practice, like my first practice, I realized, at least athletically, I wasn't behind any of the guys on the field. Like I fit in practice athletically. It was just being able to understand the college game of football mentally, and then just getting stronger. So I think that first practice, that first training camp I had, I really understood, I belong on the field, because you grow up idolizing the college football, the NFL football guys, and kind of think put them on a pedestal. And once I got there, I was like, oh, everybody's just like me. In fact, I might be more athletic than 95% of them. So I think that was kind of eye-opening for me, at least.
Maybe a stupid question, but what felt better to you, getting an interception or getting a strip sack?
Well, as an outside linebacker, a strip sack for sure. That was what I was going for.
So I've been playing this game with a couple of guys I've had on here just for fun. But if you want, we could play it's a game of start, sit, red shirt with guys that you've played with. So between Chris Borland, Vince Beagle, and TJ Edwards, you got to start one, sit one, and red shirt one.
I mean, in terms of college production,
in their college prime, because I know
you definitely have to start Chris Borland for sure.
Yeah,
and then I mean, sitting and redshirting, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two for me. And I mean, then both Vince and TJ, all conference guys, and so I don't know. You could interchange them either way on both sides, I'd say, for those two.
So you talk about after your junior season, you said you went with a former Wisconsin guy as your agent. You had a lot of agents reaching out to you. Did you put a lot of thought into that decision, or was it like, after how well you did your junior year, you could have made it to the league even without an agent, so you didn't put much thought into that process, or did you do like a lot of research on that?
Yeah, I mean, me and my dad at that point like met and chatted with a lot of agents during my senior year, like during the football season of my senior year. So it kind of started in the summer after junior year, going into senior year. And it was just meeting guys, talking to them, kind of getting a feel for like who they were, what kind of agency they were with, and then we just went with who we felt would be like the most comfortable fit. So,
do you have a favorite college game that you played at Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think the Melvin Gordon 408 game was a good one. Nobody remembers I was the defensive player of the week in the Big Ten that week, but so I had a good game.
Melvin stole your
had
spotlight.
Yeah, Melvin had a very good game. And also, like against Iowa, my senior year, we lost the game, but I had probably the best game I ever played on defense, and just was in the zone. That was a fun. Same with the Alabama game, like coming out against Alabama week 1 of my senior year and just playing one of the best games I had played against the machine of Alabama was another good one.
Yeah.
But between those and then our bowl victories against Auburn and USC, those were all good memories.
So you had your draft party back home, and it's kind of a funny story. You get the call about being drafted before anyone had shown up, and I think your parents were out running grabbing supplies, correct?
Yeah, it was the day 3, so I got called like 10 minutes before the draft was even supposed to start on that day. Yeah.
So what was everyone's reaction once they showed up and you just basically had to be like, yep, I already got drafted?
Yeah, I mean, everybody already basically knew when they showed up, so then it was just a party, a no-stress party from that point on. Yeah.
Your rookie season, was there, similar to when you got to Wisconsin, was there a veteran in the locker room that really took you under their wing to show you the ropes and help you kind of get acclimated? Because I can only assume going from everything super structured and scheduled in college for 4 years to having, all this freedom, but expected to maintain the highest level of performance was quite a transition, if you will.
Yeah, but when you first get to the NFL, it's the same regimen as college, except instead of school classes, it's just more football. So
sure,
you don't really have a whole lot of time to do anything throughout your whole rookie year. That's why, like the rookie wall, I always talk about during the season, because once you're done with your college football senior season, you go train wherever you're training. You go get drafted. You go to rookie mini camp, OTAs, mandatory mini camp, then training camp, and then the season is like nonstop football all year round. But Joe Thomas was there, former Wisconsin guy.
Yep.
Tank Carter was a linebacker who I talked to a lot and kind of bounced things off of. And Demario Davis was also another linebacker there, who was a senior, older guy who kind of held all the linebackers accountable. He was a really good leader in the linebacker room. So between those guys, had lots of good people to sound off of.
So you have a ton of accolades, from the Big Ten linebacker of the year to I believe it was your second season with the Browns, you made the Pro Bowl. Is there anything, individual award that you won, that stands out as being the most memorable to you?
I mean, the most memorable is probably the Pro Bowl, because you get to go for a week to go play with the best, hang out and play with, practice with, go to Disneyland, whatever, with the best football players in the world. So it was a fun week, and you get to bring my wife and my mom and one of her friends went down for it. And so it was just like a mini vacation with a little bit of football thrown in with some of the guys that you've looked up to your whole life on your team, and you going playing against across the line of scrimmage from.
Was there a running back in the league that you faced that gave you the best test in terms of competition?
Yeah, I always say Marshawn Lynch is probably the best running back I ever played. It was when he was in Oakland, right before he kind of got hurt for the last time. So he was still Marshawn Lynch of old. He was a heck of a guy to try to tackle, quick, fast, big. But other than that, like pretty much every running back in the NFL is pretty good. So you just got to go.
Right.
Got to make sure you're bringing your hard head every single time you're going to try to tackle any of them.
Yeah. So 2016 and 2017, you guys had some rough seasons with the Browns. Was it tough staying positive during those years, since you were just fresh into your pro career and, still wanting to put the highest product out on the field?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you put so much work in to not win like any games is a huge shock to the system. But I think the guys who kind of persevered from it and kept working hard, eventually it paid off for those kind of guys in the end. And the guys who kind of let it get to them and didn't take it as seriously and maybe slacked off because they weren't winning games, I think it really hurt. So it's just about having the right mindset, like going into it. And once you got to a certain point of the season where kind of the playoffs were out of the picture for you, you have to really just dig in figure out why you want to play good football, because really there's no reward at the end of the season. You just go out there, put your body on the line, maybe get hurt for nothing. But at the same time, you could go stay disciplined, go out there and play good football and get better. It could pay off for you in the long run, which it did for me at least.
Yeah, tough seasons like those. Did you go into the off season, um, you know, wanting to push yourself harder, or was it more like, okay, well, what I'm doing is working based on how I'm performing. I just got to keep doing what I've been doing here.
Yeah, I mean a little bit of both. Like I had a system. We stayed in Cleveland well in the off season, and I worked out at the facility with the strength coaches, and I had a lot of discipline, so I was working hard, making sure I was getting better. And obviously, you want to, as a competitor, win football games, so you always drive a little bit harder, a little bit more to make sure that stuff doesn't happen again.
So after playing with the Browns, you played with them until 2019, then went from Jacksonville to Pittsburgh, and then finally Tennessee. By the third year on a new team, did you feel like maybe the traveling was starting to catch up with you, or maybe you could feel your body telling you it was time to retire, or how did that process happen?
Yeah, I mean, it was just uh, traveling around. I mean, it was good. I had good years in all of those spots. And kind of by the end, though, I was a little bit over training camp
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like the unknown of where you're going to play. And I'd been lucky; I hadn't really gotten injured. I stayed in good shape through the year after I was in Tennessee, and I got a couple of messages here and there about workouts and stuff, but I wasn't really feeling it as from teams that weren't like if it was the Eagles or the Chiefs or something
yeah,
who wanted me to show up, like it would have been a different thing. But I wanted, if you're not going to like playing football, even for like veteran minimum, it's sometimes not worth it if you have a chance to blow your ACL or Achilles, and your body's not going to last and hold up for the rest of your life.
yeah. So 7 years in the NFL, do you ever miss it, or are you happy with your time you spent there and happy to kind of close that chapter, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with what my career ended up being, and like now being retired at 31 years old and have enough money to kind of live the rest of your life of doing what you want, not being forced to do some work you don't want to do or work on a mundane job. I'm always thankful that football allowed me to be able to kind of take my time and explore, have a no set schedule really right now, and so I can go and fishing and skiing and do stuff when I want. I'll always be grateful for, and I've no resentment. Don't really miss it at all at the moment. I miss the guys and I miss kind of playing the games sometimes,
Yeah.
but in the long run, I think happy with exactly what we had.
So after you retired, did you uh you're out in Colorado now, but did you move out to Colorado right after you retired?
Yeah, during my last year in Tennessee, we were in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Okay. And picked Colorado because of the conservation work and just like being outdoors and hiking and um, all that. But I mean, is that what influenced the decision there?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to be somewhere out west. I wanted to be kind of by the mountains. My wife wanted to open a dance studio, so
Okay.
Colorado, like specifically the Denver area, with just the population and being right next to the mountains, kind of was the best of both worlds. So you get to come out here, go fishing, skiing, mountain biking, hiking, all that, and booming population, especially with COVID, and it just was climbing
Yeah.
incredibly fast. So we settled here and opened a dance studio and get to enjoy all the stuff the mountains have to offer.
Okay. Is it? It looks like you're both physically active in the gym. You have some Instagram posts with Press Inc. out in Colorado, but as well, obviously, into outdoor sports like skiing, hiking. Is the love of being physically active in sports something you want to pass along to your kids?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had so much fun with sports, but I'm not whatever they want to do, as long as they're doing something. I think is just got to make sure they're actually being challenged and doing something, whether it's like learning to fish or going camping, hiking, or playing an organized sport. I don't really care what they want to do. They just got to do something in my mind.
Yeah. So you have 2 sons, correct?
Yep.
So you say in your Father's Day post, you hope to pass along what your father taught you. If you could choose, what is the most important thing you think your father taught you that you want to pass along to your children?
Yeah, I think just the work ethic and being like, once you say you're going to do something, you follow through and you try to get it done. Whether you succeed or fail is kind of irrelevant as long as you give it all you got. I think just being able to pass down those lessons that, like, the people who actually work hard, like, there's obviously lucky people and unlucky people, but for the most part, lucky people are people who work hard and then they're always ready when an opportunity presents itself to them. And the unlucky people are the people who kind of mope around, don't work that hard, and aren't ready to take advantage of whatever opportunities like go their way. Obviously, uh, there's aspects to that sometimes it's just people are really unlucky, but or get really lucky.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer that if you're determined, you work hard, you kind of, when you say you're going to do something, you do it. You're accountable. Like, you're always going to be ready for the things when they come your way, and you're going to be able to be successful, whether it's on a football field or in the corporate world or an outdoor industry, whatever you want to do.
So I only have one son right now, but the jump from 1 to 2, is it pretty crazy? Is it noticeable, or is it, pretty easy because you got 2 of you, 2 of them? So
Yeah, it's not. I don't say it was crazy as long as um, God forbid, like any health impacts or things.
yeah,
As long as healthy baby and you already been through it once, you kind of know a little bit how to take care of an infant. It's a little bit easier to take care of the infant the second time, but at the same time, when you got 2 on your hands, you got to kind of divide and conquer.
right.
So it adds a whole new wrinkle. But I don't say it was any crazy jump for us. I think 0 to 1 is the biggest jump.
Okay.
You got to go be responsible for another human's life is a little bit of an eye opener.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, when they get older, are you going to want to coach them in sports like your father did with you? If they do sports, I guess, since we just talked
Yeah,
about it, you don't.
I have no idea right now whether they do or not. I could see myself like helping out, but I'd probably just mostly just be the stuff in the front yard and the backyard, going to games, and like, what if they want to work on something, I can help them do whatever specific thing they want. But we'll have to see whether I get involved as being a coach for a whole team or something. Well, who knows?
Your oldest isn't old enough to play sports yet, correct?
He just started kindergarten, so he's kind of just on the cusp.
Okay. Okay. Um, so I always have 2 final questions. We'll start with the first one. If your sons come across this when they are of age, what is one thing you hope they take away from it?
Yeah, I think kind of similar to what I said before. Just like, if you're determined and you work hard trying to get whatever you want to do done, like, you follow a plan, follow a layout, and dream big and try to chase whatever dream you have, like, things are going to work out. They might not work out exactly when or where or how you expect them to, but things will work out in the long run. It's kind of how I've always thought about whether it be sports or school or anything. It always seems to kind of play that role. It doesn't always work out exactly how I have it planned, but things usually seem to work out in the end.
Last but not least, after week 1, how do you think the Badgers are going to do this season?
Yeah, obviously it's tough when your quarterback goes down in the first quarter, but you beat a team that you're supposed to beat. Defense didn't allow any points. If you have a good defense, you can be in any single game of the season. So it's hard to kind of read off the first game just with the circumstances around the offense and quarterback and stuff, but should be a good year. And if the defense can play like that every single week, there's no reason why I can't win a lot of football games.
All right. I like that answer. Big thanks to Joe Schobert for joining me today on the Dadger and sharing just not just his football journey, but also his perspective on fatherhood and life after the NFL. It's stories like his that really show what this podcast is all about: chasing dreams, overcoming challenges, and being the best dad you can be. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening, and drop a comment with who you'd like to be on next. Thanks again for tuning in, and thanks again, Joe Schobert.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Go Badgers. Hope we
On
turn it
Wisconsin.
around this year.